Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and happy Friday, happy Saturday, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm your host, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability, starring Pet Psychic Aminah. Pet Psychic Aminah has been with me since the very beginning. We actually just celebrated 175 episodes a couple of weeks ago, and each week she comes here and shares her knowledge and expertise to help us understand how we can coexist with all creatures, big and small, so that we can save our planet. Let's welcome her, joining us from California, Pet Psychic Aminah. Hello.
Hello, hello. Nice to see you this Friday.
Nice to see you as well. How is the weather there in California?
Sunny.
Sunny. Are you in an area that's impacted by any of the fires?
No, they're in the distance enough for us, because what a lot of people don't realize, we're in a valley and we do have hills on both sides. I happen to live on one of those sparse hills. And so it really gets just backed up. If we get smoke, it can go really badly. And I don't see a leaf in the outside moving. So we don't even have a breeze for that.
It's very still. So our topic today is serpentine shadows. We're going to talk about rainforest snakes. But before we get to that, when there is a fire, how does that impact the creatures living there?
Well, a great deal of them lose their life. So it's not just people that we're worried about, but fires happen naturally in nature when mankind, peoplekind, are not involved in throwing their trash or, God forbid, a match, a cigarette, anything can set it off. There actually are ways where reflective light on the really dark and hard places to live, like the deserts, they can catch on, those leaves can catch on fire. And that's where you get a natural fire. The other parts are where we get involved. So animals don't have, the fire department to call, or don't have a underground home to run to save their life. We missed out on so many animals that are on the brink of extinction. And some of that is because we haven't taken care of our planet well enough for all of us to thrive.
Thank you for sharing that. We actually were talking a little bit about this topic on a show earlier today. We were talking about the power of etiquette and manners, and how teaching young people to be nice, to be respectful, to take care of the planet is so important right now, because there are animals that are extinct because of climate change. There are a lot of things happening because the world is definitely hotter, although there, of course, are people who don't believe that. So we're going to segue into snakes. Snakes live in various parts of the world, but do they have to be places where it's hot?
They are great sidewinders, especially, and that they are their name. So instead of wiggling around like a snake goes like an inch and then moves on, a sidewinder actually moves sideways. And there are hundreds of millions of types of snakes out there. And it is fascinating to me. They don't all bite. They are not all venomous. You are a giant carnivore. So they're like, yeah, I'm for dinner here. And that's true for some people. Dr. JACALYN, do you know how to, if you were walking along, whatever you were walking, and you saw a snake, would you be able to define it from poisonous to just like a garden snake?
I think I remember you telling me something about a diamond shape, but I don't know if its head is
Yeah.
a diamond shape. Tell
Yep.
us more.
If it is poisonous, it 99% of the time, it will have a diamond-shaped head. So walk very carefully, very quietly, and turn around and walk away. Because getting bit by a venomous snake, nowadays, of course, we have venom cures for that. You're still going to be miserable. From what I understand, I've never been bitten by a poisonous snake. Have I been bitten by a snake? Yep. I was giving an educational moment. We had all these young kids that came over to the wildlife sanctuary where I worked, and I was doing just a regular, rat-tailed snake, and beautiful, always does really well. It has been used in public things before. And all of a sudden, got my hands on the neck and on the tail, and all of a sudden he was able to turn around and get me. And you should have seen those kids. Oh my God. I don't think I've seen kids scream so much. And that's a bad response, but it was fine. And I kept smiling and going, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. Just let him finish, because he was very stressed. These are high energy, small children, anywhere from 15 to, I think the youngest child there was like 8. And so, they were at a distance from me, and I had a backup for, I don't know if I decided to draw them on the ground, but I'll tell you, it was an experience. The director of our program said, "Oh, you need to lay down. Just go lay down." I'm thinking, I don't need to lay down, but I'll take it. So I got the rest of the day off.
Well, I'm so glad that you were safe. And thanks again for always providing the information that we need to know. So if we do come across a snake, whatever type it is, and it stands up, if you ever seen it do that where it's not coiling around, does that mean it's going to attack us?
It's warning you. So snakes have rattles, and everywhere in California, we have quite a few of the rattlesnakes. I literally call them. We have garter snakes. Those are pretty harmless. Can they still bite you? Absolutely. So you need to know what you're looking at. If you are aware of your surroundings, if you're kind of shuffling your feet through terrain, that you're on this great hike, that's a good thing, because then you can say, hey, here I come. They can feel the vibration in the soil as we make that move. And if you're bigger and meatier than some people, your sound is probably coming through even better. But let's say you come across a snake, you don't know what it is. First and foremost, if you see the snake that you're looking at has a triangle head, Dr. JACALYN, what's your guess? You got 50-50 chance. Is it poisonous or isn't it?
Well, you said diamond shape was poisonous, so triangle.
Exactly. So there is a simple way because not all poisonous snakes have rattles. That's on a rattler. And sometimes they don't have them because they've sloughed them off. And now they usually keep 1 or 2. But it's possible that he got trapped. An animal tried to eat him. Didn't go well, but the tail got it. Because there are snakes that will literally drop their tail and go, I'm out of here. You deal with the tail. It's not a great meal, from what I understand. It's just limiting. So what I want everybody to be empowered is that you can go out for a hike even though there's snakes. Again, I grew up around sidewinders and other desert snakes, but I also was taught from a very young age on how to be around them. In the desert, we have sidewinders with all kinds of snakes. If you see a snake, just stop moving, take a deep breath, and then start to move backwards. If you can, because I don't know, maybe there's a body of water, there's a twig, you're worried about all of that. The hardest thing you must do is stay as calm as you can and think happy thoughts and say, you know what, love you, I'll go over here. I sadly have seen where people get all uptight and angry and they start throwing rocks and trying to kill the snake. And it's like, no. The snake really has a vital part in our ecosystem. And they're not out there walking in your yard. So have that in mind, that if you're going to go for a hike in rural country, You might see a coyote here or there. You might be, if you're in Africa, you might see the giraffe and lions. But there's ways to behave around that so you stay safe. But in the end of it, that animal gets to live another day, because they don't know that, this is not what everybody does. And we're giant carnivores as far as the snakes are concerned. Just remember, carry something with you that you can ride, because if you're hiking and you run into these animals, it's just as possible that you could trip and fall. So have supplies with you, not only water, but some light supplies that you can cover a scrape on your leg instead of having it run down your sock. There are ways to be around snakes, and that is to be calm and centered. If you cannot do that, try very hard to make sure that you don't go to areas, and I don't know what those would be. Death Valley? Nope, they got snakes too. And just understand, they don't want to eat you. They can't. You're a little bit too big. And I understand we taste terrible. So think about that. You are just the person they are terrified of. And what do people themselves do, Dr. JACALYN, when we're afraid? We do all kinds of stupid things, right?
Yes, absolutely. We scream and yell and cause the scene.
Yeah. And the snakes are all looking at us going, what the heck is that? It's like you're bumping into a siren. So remember, they're just trying to live another day. They are not out there to kill you. They can't eat you. So you're absolutely waste space. And I also understand we taste terrible.
So just to summarize, the snake doesn't want to bite us, but it also at the same time
they have a limited amount of venom. If you're not talking about what will kill you, is the boa constrictors, which literally will constrict your breathing, and hopefully you just faint but not die. But that usually crushes their ribs, people's ribs. So the other one you want to watch out for is diamond-headed snakes. And what I mean by that is literally their head is in a shape more like a diamond than it is an oval. And why? Because the oval ones are non-lethal, and the ones with a diamond head, they're lethal. And it's literally that easy, because not all snakes that are, dangerous to be around, they don't all have rattlers, because that's a rattlesnake. It's a type of snake that has rattles. It's not across the board for all poisonous snakes. They do not want to bite you because, again, they don't own tons and gallons of drugs to get their food taken care of. So if they're doing it on a carnivore like us and they can't defend themselves, a lot of times they'll lose their life just because, a bird will come by. And I mean, an eagle, a big thing, pick them up, bye-bye, lunch for the little ones. It is a part of nature. What I want you to think about is when you are in nature, how do you coexist? How do you both get to Tuesday if this is Monday, or say on Saturday and get to the Sunday? Think about that. Snakes serve a vital balancing of the world wherever they're from. They eat rodents, they eat birds, they eat all kinds of things. And that is managing how much. And these animals, most of them die a natural death. But snakes are hunters. They'll go out and get it.
And I did read somewhere that snakes like to hide in bushes and in brush as opposed to a well-manicured lawn.
Because they're wide open and exposed. What is going to come off let's say your lawn or my lawn? What do you think is going to come and eat a snake?
Birds.
Exactly. They're just flying by looking for free food or injured food or any of that kind of stuff. Animals in the entire animal kingdom are really, really experts at saying, you're on death row, I got dinner, because that's how the world cycles. Now, will humanity, we've gone to farming or raising cattle and all of this type of stuff, but that's not how it always was. You had to get out there. Native Americans are absolutely experts at coexisting. The ones that I've worked with or been around, and leaving enough for the coyotes, the snakes, or whatever to thrive in their own habitat. So it's about being cautious about how many snakes do you need. People do it for trophies, and you can't balance the world if 10 people are going trophy hunting every weekend or 3 times a year. So think about that. I'm not advocating for anybody to go out and even up the odds. Animals already are in trouble. So this is how to keep you safe. Don't turn your back on a coyote or a snake, and slowly back up and then run. Because most people, your adrenaline's going. They can feel how hot and sweaty you are, and they're like, wow, what's wrong with this person? Because they don't understand.
You have a stick, because I know you had said on another show that if you get an iguana that comes into your house or something, use a broom or something to keep between you and it. Is that a good idea?
Yeah. These big ones, do whatever shock and awe, not throwing rocks at them. Let's not do that, because they could get death-defyingly sick, have an open wound, and then their dinner for somebody else. And that's not fair on anybody that we cause that kind of outcome. Get a paper bag, rustle it around. I'd say break balloons, but no, the balloons will kill somebody because the plastic doesn't always get found. Do what you can. And at all costs, the simplest thing to do is say, hey, I see you. Because what I'm talking about is when I talk those words, you can hopefully feel your stress managing. It's not maybe keep going high, but it's the hardest thing you're going to do is to keep calm. Keep calm and keep calm. Because snakes typically have a lunge distance, depending on how long they are, how powerful they are, that they can come and get you. So just back up as best you can without falling, tripping, because they won't understand that either. And then go in another direction. I mean, they're fabulous animals. They clean up all our dead animals. They take on carrion. It's a balancing act between all of us. But if we come in there guns a-blazing, literally and or figuratively, we're creating unbalance. And that's what we're experiencing now with global warming.
I think I'd be afraid to start walking backwards because I might trip. Can you walk sideways so you're still looking at it? Yeah.
And that's a perfect question and statement, because do you know why we all animal people, if you've got an aggressive dog, you got an aggressive cat, you got an aggressive snake, now it's all that different experience, but you're staring them down. So what does that get you? What does that say to you?
And have a heart attack?
Yeah, watch me fall. I'm gonna go on my back, not my face, because I don't want to wake up with rock gravel on my face. It is all about staying calm and centered. So now you don't come in as I'm the carnivore and I'm going to eat you, because you got it all here and said, okay, remember, I'm not going to eat you. And you could say it out loud, but they'll, like some of the coyotes and stuff like that, they'll have an ear, then they'll have another ear. Then they're going, what the heck is that? Staying quiet and calm is hard. It is but it's your goal. Whatever you need to do, you've got to get out of there alive. So I don't recommend is you turn around with your back showing to them and you run that way. Now you might be a lucky one and you get to run away, but the animals we're talking about in the wild and where you go hiking, they could just run you down. Or I don't know, we're all too big for eagles to start carrying us around, but maybe they'll take the backpack. So what you need to do is keep eye contact, take some deep breaths, tell yourself a joke. Don't laugh too hard though, and then start to back up. Hopefully you're backing up to the way you came. So you have an idea what this might look like, because you're not going to get a chance to, hey, let me look. Wait, I got to see if there's traffic.
Right.
Nobody's going to give you that chance because they're worried about their own life. Humanity has a track record of killing everything. Everything. It doesn't matter how many times you say, no, that's okay. That can stay. I've seen people who didn't understand what ladybugs were. And I said, they're really nice. They do nothing but eat bugs on my plants. So could you leave them alone? But if you don't understand the positivity of a coyote, a shark, a big bull, whatever we're afraid of, snakes are in there, then how are you going to graciously say, hey, I know I came into your yard. My bad. I'm just going to go this way. But not turn around until you are at least 3 to 5 feet from the animal, which means most of them can jump. Now, I'm not talking about coyotes. This is much farther. But you get your snakes and things, they can really move fast when they need to. If you've never,
that's really comforting. Thank you.
Yeah, no, all I want to do is get everybody to calm down and leave. Don't get out the popcorn. This is not a movie. Don't. And what's really hard, I think, for most people is when you don't have these tips and you don't have the experience, then you should probably stay away from hiking from places all by yourself, for sure. So you have a buddy to help you with the bandages or to go get help. But know where you are. What's really helpful, and then we do this in dog training, is have a whistle. They're so cheap. You go to the dollar store, you go around the corner, get whatever you want. And what does it do? If you get into trouble, especially if you're hiking alone, which I don't ever recommend, especially depending on the weather, you've got somebody's dog who's loose and they dropped, because sadly that happens and they're not friendly. A whistle is a pitch that will bother, like the dogs, the coyotes, all these types of animals with that sound. Even the cats are usually they're looking at you like, well, I don't know what that is, but I'm out of here, because it resonates as danger. Really resonates. So just carry a whistle with you, and you'll love it. If God forbid you trip and fall and break your ankle, or you've bruised it so badly that you really can't crawl out of there without asking the scorpion to give you a ride. So have a whistle with you. And I don't care if you're going hiking in a rose garden, if you're all by yourself, it's always a good idea. If you're a woman, please do so. It could save your life on some stranger coming up to you, and you can just, drive them crazy with a bunch of whistling. And it's shock and awe. So I want the snakes to run away. We want the bad people to run away, whatever, if you're there on your own. I'd love to see everybody go with somebody for the first time who knows what they're doing, who knows the trails. It's just magical when you get a really good guide and they pick out things that you go, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't see that. It just looked like a mound of dirt. If you've never seen how these animals that live in the soil, they're just kicking it all out. They're kicking it all out. Mm-hmm. And they got to keep doing that because it rains. They don't have front doors.
Right. We do have some comments from the popcorn manager. Monger. I'm sorry, the popcorn monger. Sorry. And the popcorn monger writes pit vipers.
Yeah. These are really important venomous snakes. They're really neat, but lots of respect.
Little reds have either 2 or 1, or maybe it's supposed to be 9 ridges on it. Most danger at 1.7 to 3 inches for that variety. And then
good point,
the red ones. So I'm not sure exactly, but thank you for watching and for commenting. We really do appreciate it.
And I am, if I haven't said it this time, but I am experienced in the bite.
Yeah,
not poisonous, luckily. But I had a child circling me, a whole bunch of them. Oh, that's so cool. The snake didn't think so. And I was the closest thing because I was holding him. And it's so funny because I look back and go, no, I'm still not afraid of that moment. It was just like, okay, how do we get out of here gracefully? The kids are already noticing, because the co-teacher with me hadn't seen yet. She was off to my side and couldn't see. And I'm just going around still talking. I didn't take vaccines when I was a kid that well. Come on. I really came along. But I've noticed, if I get upset, if I get anxious, how do you think all the animals are going to respond, much less children?
Exactly. It's a ripple effect, really.
It really is. And you got to be that centered person when you hike. I don't ever recommend you go alone, ever, because things happen. And in 2, you have a better chance and all of those things. But respect the space you're in. if there's a couple of us that love hiking and we go out, and guess what? One thing I bet you can't guess. Now you're pretty smart. You might guess. What is the one thing that we bring when we're going hiking anywhere? Because we're going rural. But we bring this one thing. It's not my cell phone.
I have no idea. I'm not a
paper
hiker.
bag. A paper
Oh,
bag.
really?
Or a plastic bag, actually, if we're taking control over it and it's in our pocket, because it can do a number of things. It can help you get water. If it's, and I mean, these great grocery bags, some of them are really, really wonderfully put together. But you will have a chance to make a flag out of it so that somebody sees you. Maybe you're on the ground and you got a stick, you pull it up, it blows in the wind. It'll scare the animals all the way too, because they're like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I'm not going there because it looks at. Have a plan when you hike, when you walk. I highly recommend you never go alone. That would be the first one. Have your phone fully charged. Maybe you're using it for the camera. I know I do now. Maybe bring a backup. But if you're hiking, that's a lot of things to carry. So water's a necessity. If you believe you're going to be out long, that your battery's going to be at risk, then bring up a backup. Be prepared. For me, I tend to have allergies no matter where I go. So I'm always bringing a lot of Kleenex too. If you really plan ahead, they make now first aid kits and these little pouches. So easy to put it in a back pocket. It's got Band-Aids. I think some of them have matches, and that's just like you got lost overnight or something like that. I don't ever recommend you start a fireside thing and you're waiting it out. If it gets really cold, yeah, it's going to be a problem. But remember, this is the wild, and fire can grow and take out hundreds of miles. So be very careful if you decide that a fire is what you need.
Absolutely. I like to watch a lot of those reality TV shows where they draw people off and they have to earn a fire striker to get it to start. So obviously you really have to know what you're doing to get a fire to start, and then also to keep it under control. But I wanted to ask you another question about snakes. So obviously we know that some are poisonous, some are not poisonous. There are snakes that can swallow a whole human being. I guess I don't know what their names are, but what about snakes that live in a rainforest or in an area where it's very moist, it's very humid? Do they behave in a different way than a snake that's in a desert or a dry area, or they basically just acclimate based on wherever it is they're living?
It's a yes and no. Are they similar? Absolutely. Snakes are very, very, very similar. All have different colorings, all have different, some have rattles, some don't. Yes, the rattles fall off. They slough like the lizard skins do also. So that's why I'm trying to keep as general of safety, especially tips, so that you can say, oh, I know where you are. So there's a garden snake, there's a reptile snake, there's a poisonous snake. Dr. JACALYN, do you know the one thing that you can see that you can actually see the difference and know right away, this guy is poisonous? I need to back up really slow.
Yes, we already talked about the diamond head or the triangle head.
And I really want, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking that, if you are someone who lives in a very humid area, there are going to be different types of snakes there. Yep. There are snakes that live in the water that can go through the water, like in the Everglades. There's snakes that are there.
Right.
So my question really is a snake that's in a rainforest, is that going to be more dangerous than a snake that's in a desert?
No. And the whole reason is the way they're put together. So if we look at cattle, you look at like kangaroos in Australia. I don't know that would really work here in California. Now, they wouldn't die because we have lots of patches of more mild temperature. But an animal is built for the environment they're supposed to be living in. So they're going to have a fur coat. Why do bears have fur coats? Because it snows. They're living in dens. But they're not living in Florida, because could you imagine that coat? Oh my gosh, they might sweat to death. So an animal is very, very, very much produced, man-made and or heaven-made. The animal is meant for one topography and one outside weather. They are able to really manage that. Can they change? Well, that would be evolution. It takes hundreds of years sometimes for an animal to make those changes. And what was wonderful with the science that we are now to do, we can measure their wool, we can measure their hair. There's always research going on. And luckily we are doing catch and release more and more and more. And if you don't know what catch and release is, it's just what it sounds like. They catch the animal as humane as possible. They put them on a little bit of happy juice so they are calm and sleeping through the whole thing. Then they do their thing as fast as possible. You got like 3 or 4 vets of some kind there, and they're taking a temperature. They're taking a paw print, believe it or not, like our fingerprints. Bears and other animals that don't have hooves are unique to that animal, and they can look it up. Bears in California, most of them are tagged, so they know all their details is behind that number on the tag. Some of them you can scan, some you go back to the lab and have access to. So just realize when you're ready to go out in the wild, be prepared that you're going into somebody else's home, literally. So just because you see a bird's nest doesn't mean you get to look in the nest, because that could result in the mom flying away. And now your scent is all over the eggs and the nest. And she'll go, oh, that's not mine. And those babies die. So be careful out there.
That's so true. You know, unrelated but related, there was a news article I read that somewhere here at the Jersey Shore, a father saw a seagull come in and take his daughter's French fries, and he broke the seagull's neck and killed it. And so now
that's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal. So I think that's another thing, because sometimes animals come into our space, right? If you're eating your French fries, but you are out in the public domain, or if bees come in, then they're looking for food, right? They're obviously
99% of the time.
Yeah, the birds are flying over and they're looking for food. That's what their goal is, and you've got food. So maybe don't eat your food on the beach knowing that they're going to be coming there. And that's the other thing. Once you see one person eating, you see the seagulls all getting together. There's more and more of them. And then they start coming in all of them together. And then it just messes up the entire day.
Well, it does. And you know what? There's a simple fix. Let's say you're in a boat. You're out there doing your sailing. You got little sandwiches in your little cooler and chips or whatever. And before you get any of that out, because you don't know who's flying by and saw you and they're 700 feet above you, you didn't know there was a cloud. Animals are looking for food every minute of every day because they don't have a fridge. They don't have a Safeway anywhere for them to stop at. So let's not make you a target. And you bring what one thing that will fix this? You know what it is?
You said a paper bag or a plastic bag. Is that it?
That's possible, but that's usually to storage the food or the fish you catch. You need to really go out, like if you've got birds anywhere around you, like you mentioned in this scenario, you need an umbrella. That's it. Yeah. Because first of all, you got shade. They can't see you anymore. They do not understand the dynamics of umbrella. And you can move it up, down, around, sit it beside you. And most umbrellas have a little tip on it so that, when you close it, you can walk with it. And you literally can save your own life by, swinging that thing around and say, no, I'm not food. But you brought up a perfect point. This is why we really, really ask the public, don't feed wildlife, because they remember, person, food. And I'm sorry, crackers and candy and whatever else, the junk we eat, that is not good for them. It's not good for anybody depending on the scale. But you should never give wildlife Twinkies or cookies or any of that. Go to a reputable store that deals with wildlife, or right now you can just Google it. and find out what's good in that area if you think you must help. And where's a must? It is when they've had a forest fire, when they've had an earthquake, and these animals are struggling to literally get a drink of water, much less getting food. So the best way to help is talk to Fish and Game, talk to people in your own area, like get a hold of the mayor's office. These people are highly knowledgeable about what you can do and what rules you have, and they'll have a pamphlet for it too. So it is a great thing that we can step in and help out these animals that are living through the catastrophe of an earthquake and losing all their homes. But going out there and making them dependent on people gets them killed. If it's not today, it'll be in a few months. Not everybody wants a bird around or a lizard around or a snake around. So just be careful. Love can kill people. It can do it to their pets. It can do it to the wildlife.
So just to piggyback off of what you just said, if you see an animal that's from the wild, I've seen this before, a deer comes running into a highway and then a car hits it, but it's not dead. It's suffering very badly. Right. So what do you do in a case like that?
Well, luckily we do have all those cell phones. You need to get hold of Fish and Wildlife in that area, or if you can't, because you should be able to, operator call, especially if you have service. If you stop by the closest gas station or something else, this is another reason why having our cell phones as emergency equipment means you've got to keep them charged. Sadly, these accidents, these head-on collisions happen over and over. If you haven't seen them yet, a lot of really busy places for wildlife, they're building bridges. And these bridges are exclusively for these animals to cross. And they've been doing this for some time, building these bridges. And it's really wonderful, and it saves lives, human and the animals. So that's the good part, because how many of us have driven down the road and see a carcass off to the side? It just breaks my heart. It didn't have to happen. So somewhere we had a breakdown. We weren't paying attention while we were driving. The animal jumped out and thought we were going to stop. There's lots of ways to miscommunicate. What you can do is do better. Every time we have a problem, or we have, I don't know how to do that, or I don't want to do that one over there, then come up with something creative. This is no different. Come up with a creative way to coexist in the space that the animal's need is totally different from yours. But let me really, really stress, don't feed the wildlife. Don't feed the wildlife. If you're going to, like you're dying to put a bird feeder up, a lot of that seed now is very healthy for it, or it's better than we've had before. But how about plant a plant, just one, that has seeds in it? And you can research that, or you can Google it, and there's just so much information out there that you can go a more natural way for animals to. Maybe you grow carrots because you have wild bunnies all over, and you want to do that. That's great. But maybe your neighbor's doing carrots, and she doesn't want them there because the animal doesn't say, "Oh, property line, it can't go over there." So just remember, fencing is good when it is safe. What you don't want to find is somebody caught, especially a domesticated animal that has a collar, and they get caught in those wires because they don't really see them until the last minute. Things to consider as you make your choices. That's all I'm doing, trying to give you lots of things to consider.
Fantastic. Well, as we close out the show today, I'd love to just have you touch on wearing a collar or a harness, putting that on your pet, a collar or a harness or both. What are your thoughts?
If you have a powerful dog, any of the big ones, and you're not quite as big, I would go collar and harness so that you have some leverage there. But in all, the harnesses are far more humane, and you're going to get the whole dog or the whole cat with you. Because I've literally seen people catch like a small dog or cat and with the harness on, because all the pressure is here in their chest. It's not touching their windpipe. It's not touching their neck. It's not hurting them in any way. You can kind of pick them up and say, here's my portable purse. If you've done any of the Chihuahua things and you've ever gone to a smetchy place like New York City, and all of a sudden you got this lady with a little purse and a little dog coming out. So that is great, as long as they've got some control and they aren't able to just jump out. Because tragedy happens then. Tragedy happens then. Either you trip and step on them, even to break a toe. I don't know you. I cry like a baby if I hurt any of them, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's bad." So know that you don't want yourself in that position. Harnesses are all here, so you literally could pick that animal up, unless they're too big, and move them across. But you'll save their windpipe. You'll save their way they swallow, and this is now being supported 90% by the ribs. It's not by the joint. It's not here, because, right, if you've got this, and how many of us have had that leash and goes, "Come here." That's really, really uncomfortable. That's why a recall, and that's when, especially your dogs, is you can stand somewhere and say, "Jake, come," and whoop, they should be right here at your hip, because that'll save lives. And I use that example because Jake was the shepherd that somebody dumped in a backyard with a giant sick tank moved. So the 6 feet down, and he's running around with all those balls. But I got to a place where I could tell him from a distance, sit, stay. And he just trusted me. But what does trust need? Building up of continuity, that you're always trustful. You can't be always every minute. I understand that. But guess what? We can try. And your animals pick up on that. They know what you're capable of, and they cheer you on. So let's keep them safe.
Absolutely. And one final comment, which is, I saw someone the other day riding their bike, and they had a small dog on a leash, and the leash was attached to the handlebars, and the guy was riding really fast, and my heart was breaking, because I thought, that is an accident waiting to happen. He wasn't on the sidewalk, he was in the street. And just imagine someone pulling you by your throat. I don't know, but I didn't say anything, because you have to watch what you say anymore to people, because you don't know how they're going to respond. But is that a safe thing to do, to be riding?
No. And riding with a dog is a challenge. Again, I had a shepherd. We were learning it together. But I'm always terrified that you're going to get his toes or his fur, or his hair, his neck, or ears. I've actually gotten my hand as a child stuck in the spokes. It's not comfortable, and you get it all shaved off. So what they have out in the market is something that hooks to the back tire, not as it's rolling, but back on where there is. And then there's a small pole that is like a bungee, but it's not round, and it has give. But it keeps your dog not only exercising, running with you, but it keeps them about 12 inches away, 6 to 12 inches away from the tires. And it's hooked up to a harness. I don't recommend a leash, just a regular collar, because then you're pulling on their windpipe constantly. And the other way is it's all shared with the ribs. That's a good way to go. If you want to run with your dog or ride with your dog, first and foremost, don't ask for more than a few blocks of neighborhood the first 5 times you do this, because their feet have to get calluses. It's just like if you play tennis, you play volleyball, or anything where you're using your hands, you got to toughen them up. And that's what pre-games do. That's what practice does. And you owe it to your pets to say, no, I'm not going to have your toes fall off, because a slip pad, oh my gosh, it's gruesome, and it's excruciating to walk with. I know, because I have done it, and I've never had my pets do it, not our shepherd or anything, but I had to learn to go slow and let him get up to speed of where I was exercising, and he had been just dumped in a yard, so there's not a lot of exercise in the yard. Think about these details, and you'll have so much more fun. Less vet visits, less sickness, less pads that you have to heal. I mean, it takes months to heal, the bottom of their pads. It really is. And you don't want to choke them. So that's why a harness across their back is so much better than a leash. And that's for day-to-day walking or anything, especially for an animal that is a little more rambunctious. You wouldn't have to pull on that leash constantly and hurt their windpipe.
Well, there you have it. More fabulous tips, education that you're providing to our global audience. Thank you so much. Pet Psychic Amina, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way and who's a good client for you?
If you even have an animal that has passed, that is part of my gift. So I can help you with so many of the things as you heard today. bridgingworlds.us is my website. And I put it in one place so you don't have to go to my Facebook page and then you go to this one and go to LinkedIn. No, just go to the website and all my information there, how much I charge, how appointments go. And I'd love to hear from you after that so that we can work on a plan that works for you. And it doesn't matter where you are. I've always been on phone calls. I don't need to see a pet. I can hear what they think and say when you are talking, because for an animal, that's permission. Oh, mom's talking to her. Oh, I'll talk to her. And it's really great. One thing I wish everybody would do is talk to your pets all the time, because they really learn the body language, the sweat level, and those words. If I love you is given and hugged and kissed, we do that to our cats all the time. It's like, no, you got to give me this is your tax. You got to let me have a squish you. They get all of those gestures. And just remember, that will save their life. If you've got an animal that gets out of the house and you don't have a recall, meaning come now. Cars come by before we know it, and there's tragedy. So just think of that. It's a great relationship when you both work at it and you give your animal something solid to say, nope, this is a finite. This is what we always going to do. We're going to stop and sit at the curb, look for a car. And then I say when we go. Those are healthy limitations.
It's called setting boundaries, which we need to do with our pets as well. So all the information is right here. How to get in touch with you and how to follow you on social media. And by the way, I noticed the numbers on your social media from when we began to now. Big difference. I love it. So thank you to everybody out there who's following you. And thank you also for those who are leaving comments after the fact. As we know, people watch when they want to watch, which is what I do when I want to watch something.
Exactly. That's what that record button is for.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Pet Psychic Amina, for being here. We look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Absolutely. I'll be here.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
See you later. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Please do follow Pet Psychic Amina. Go to her website, bridgingworlds.us, and all of her social media links are there. She's on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, and she truly cares about this planet. She truly cares about you and your pets and having a safe and respectful relationship with them. So we're going to sign off for today. We're signing off for this week, actually. And please do go to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. Also, we're on a mission to get to 100,000 subscribers by September the 15th. So if you're not watching on YouTube, may I please ask you to go over to YouTube and go to USA Global TV and subscribe. Why? Because we get real numbers from YouTube. We know how many people are watching. We know where they're watching from. We know their demographics. And this way we can make sure that our shows are on point with what it is that you're looking to hear and watch. So we've got about 49 different shows right now. And I'll quickly just bring up our website so that if you're not familiar with it, you can go over there. And let me share our screen right now. So if you'd like to be a guest on this or any of our other shows, just go over to usaglobaltv.com. If you would like to find out more about the shows, we have that information right here. You can just scroll down. We have a shopping channel that's starting on Monday. So if you have couture or vintage items that you would like to sell online, please feel free to go to our website and actually book your session. If you'd like to join our team and you'd like to be part of what it is that we do here, we've got a lot of opportunities. You can learn more about our services. They're right here. And if you'd like to be a guest, you can go over to book your session. and just scroll down and you can read our testimonials. If you have been interviewed more than 3 times and you have not yet joined our team, then there is a charge for the 4th interview. You can also have your interview featured on Roku, on Zizzle TV, on Amazon Fire, and as I mentioned about the Couture Treasures. And so here you come down to book your session. You find a show that you're interested in being on. For example, The Wise Ones with Red O'Loughlin. This one here, The Perfect Podcast Show, is not open to the public. The host has decided he has his own guests that he's bringing on, but most of the other shows are open to the public. So there you have it. Please feel free to scroll through and check out all of the shows that we offer. Come down here and click See All, and then continue to scroll and just, again, find the title of the show. This is the one we're just on now, Coexistence and Sustainability, that works for you. All right. Thank you again for being here. We're going to say goodbye for now. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Remember, be kind to one another, be respectful, and realize that people have things going on in their lives. We all have things going on, and people don't always know what they are. So let's give people grace. Thank you again for watching, for following, and subscribing. We'll see you on Monday.
Hello, I'm children's author Diane Floyd Bain, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence, building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of the world's first tooth fairy ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZaneCarruth.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.